It's just a short, as you know, that we spoke earlier on. As the ministers of JCPS, especially the NICOC, those that they deal with the intelligence, Mapisa Ngagula, Jojo, and then. But after that, we went to the meeting of the national security meeting, chaired by the president after that. And we have agreed that we need to push up the level of prevention. It might be late after the destruction. What I've witnessed here doesn't give any good look. It doesn't give any good comfort at all. There's a lot of destruction, a lot of money that is lost here. But having said so, that loss of money, we're beginning to lose lives in a scale that we would really love to be avoided. Already about 19 people have been killed here in Gauteng, with 26 people killed in KZN, with a different kind of death. You'll know that in one of the shops, I think Dobsonville, where 10 people, Midlands, where people they died out of stampede, people shooting one another and all that kind of stuff, and dying on the circumstances that we have not determined. As the South African police is another thing that we want to balance the policing and the lives. If we can minimize the loss of life, that would be, but also work hard in minimizing the damage of the property. We're very glad that finally the National Defence Force has arrived. I'm glad that the General is here with his numbers here. Usually I don't give numbers, how many people are there, but there are enough to begin to get in the way of prevention. A lot of destruction has happened, so that's what we're trying to do, especially in these two provinces, starting from here. Arrest will be part of it. 36 people have been arrested here in Alex, but I think the time has come that we chase the instigators and the agitators, because we do arrest people, that's fine, but there are people that are running this thing, that is the South African police. Up to this fine, 12 of them are identified, so we'll be sitting on them and making sure that they come and answer for the sins that they have caused here. Thanks.
Minister, it's Masego from eNCA. I just wanted to ask, is the plan to have the enforcement, and I think maybe the General can support you, is there a plan to have the enforcement here overnight? Because we see it flare during the course of the evening.
As I've said, Masego, that the plan now is to prevent. It doesn't matter what time of the day. That the police have been enhanced, the police have received the backup. I think they will be able to plan for all the times where the violence happened. If it is 24 hours, we must be able to respond in 24 hours and prevent as much as we can that there is no further destruction.
In terms of the police, they were at some point, overwhelmed here in Alexandra. We saw them retreat at some point, saying that, for instance, they've run out of rounds. What are we going to do in terms of assisting police before having to call on the soldiers to come in?
Running out of rounds, I think they will have to work on the logistics, because I did speak to the National Commissioner, especially the rounds like the rubber bullets, that we have enough on that. Maybe it's a movement between the storeroom and where the police are. I think we need to improve that kind of communication and sending. For instance, where to fly some to KZN, where to take the aeroplane of the police to fly those down in KZN. But there are other things that we just need to work on to up the game when it comes to the police, especially we have a little bit of a space now with the coming of the soldiers. We believe, as the President was briefed, that we are really rolling them out. That will release the police that would have been guarding the highways, guarding the installation that goes under soldiers, and then the police, they do the actual policing.
Minister, are you expecting that this type of unrest could spill over into other provinces, and what measures are in place?
Well, the intelligence will, I would love that it doesn't happen, but the intelligence will have to tell us that indeed such things can happen, so that we are able, as I've said to you, that the period is preventative now. We just need to prevent anything happen. I wake up every day from 6. I begin to phone everybody in all other provinces, and then by the time the sun rises, one has a picture of what's going on. Up to this point, there are 2 provinces. I think Mpumalanga had a little bit of hiccups. Little bit, I don't know, but it looks like we are. Prevention, even in those provinces. For instance, I know that even the provinces where it hasn't happened, there are soldiers that have been already sent to those. I think those are preventative measures.
And in provinces like KZN, where we're starting to see incidents that are starting to look like maybe mob justice, where citizens are now taking the law into their own hands to extreme lengths, are you seeing some of those incidents in KZN, and what do you have to say about that as a source?
Well, is mob justice? I don't have that word. I have vigilantism. Yes, when people they take law in their hands. What we have encouraged, and I was briefed even now coming here, I was talking to the provincial commission. What we are encouraging, and is still happening in KZN, is that the communities, they work around the law enforcement agencies. If they work with the soldiers, they work with the police, they work with everybody. This your CPF, your community in blue, those that work with police station, we are fine with that. But the problem starts when they go for parallel structures, they go themselves, they shoot the people and all that. For instance, yesterday there was a good operation between the Durban North Police Station and the Durban North community where they work together. We encourage that people can come and work and help the law enforcement agencies, but within the law and with them.
Minister, you keep emphasizing that the focus now is on prevention, yes? But the damage is already done, and throughout the morning it went on uninterrupted with very little police visibility.
I've acknowledged that.
So, firstly, are you satisfied with the general response of the police? And secondly, are you convinced that going forward the police will be on top of things?
Let me tell you, the problem, the report only happens to the damage, is not given to those things that have been prevented to happen. I'm not going to go specifically in the specs, which one was prevented, which one was prevented, which one, but there could have been bigger and big damage if things were not prevented. Indeed, I concede this destruction and the destruction we see around the country, life would have been much better. Life would have been much better if it did not happen. But that doesn't mean that because this has happened, the next and the damage must be allowed to roll on. So we are preventing whatever. But there is a lot that has been prevented happening, which could have been. At one province, one of these provinces, they wanted to go and burn the hospital with the patients inside. That was prevented. So can you imagine if that has happened and all that? So there are things that have been prevented where it's not the time to tell and give the list of those things. The concentration is to try to stop this and make sure that such things doesn't go on.
The genesis of this, rioting and looting, was in KZN, obviously premised on the incarceration of former President Jacob Zuma. Yes, is that still the general sentiment? Based on your intelligence, as to why this continues to happen?
Look.
Please, cameraman, come this way. This is fine. Thank you.
Look, there are people that they don't even know JZ. They just don't know him. They were asked in one, sorry. They were asked, I think, in one hostel in KZN, why are you doing this? He said, we are hungry, we don't have jobs, we want jobs and all that. They asked him, why you have not been doing that? No. I remember now, Zuma must come out of prison. So that tells you the story, that there are this genuine, there is this genuine anger. There are people are sad. They would have loved to see JZ coming out of the incarceration, but many people that they don't even know what the situation is about, they have gotten the bandwagon and causing this destruction.
You spoke about intelligence that you are largely relying on as you respond to all these chaos? What do we not know?
Well, I have really answered that question now. To say there are many incidents that have been blocked before they could happen. One other problem is that police would have had the information and don't have the person power. Now that police have been enhanced, I'm not going to give the numbers. The Minister of Defense will give the numbers of the soldiers that are out there. We believe that personnel will help police to do their work going forward. One other thing that police will have to do, for instance, in Gauteng, 483 people have been arrested, 304 have been arrested in KZN. But most of those people are foot soldiers, are people that go around here. We need to zoom in the real masterminds on this, in the instigators, of which I'm saying we have a list of 12 of them that will have to follow, that they run this social media war and all that kind of stuff. But up to this point, the crux of the matter is that we need to hold this situation here, reverse it and prevent it.
Do these instigators include, former President Jacob Zuma's, some of his children who have been mobilizing on social media?
There are 12 South Africans that have been running this social media war. And if they are there, indeed, they'll have to face the might of the law.
Minister, you said that you guys are ramping up on your act and saying that you guys have used intelligence. What are some of those things that you're going to be ramping up?
Come again?
You said that you would be ramping up your efforts. So can you please just go into details a little bit about those efforts?
Details?
Not details. Could you just give us an idea as to, besides intelligence, what are some of the other things that you guys have to do?
We're fine now. The soldiers have arrived. The police are there. We have summoned all the police out of leave. Nobody's on leave. We have taken police that are trained out of offices that are in uniform. We're only leaving the clerical staff in the offices, but everybody trained that is out there. We have moved them out of leave. As I've said, we have invited extra reservists to be there. We're beefing up the numbers of the police as the soldiers have beefed up the numbers, and we'll be working together. But one other thing, yesterday we spoke very closely with Sira. Sira will be the leadership of the private security company, and we're beginning to gel. We're beginning to work together. If you have seen yesterday's operation at Deep Slot, that was run by the JMPD, the South African police, and the private security. We think we're managing to mobilize everybody to work within the law. I want to emphasize the point. We still want to work hard to minimize the loss of life, but the property must be protected, people must be arrested. For doing that, we need to work together.
All right, Sally, that was Minister General Bheki Cele, the Minister of Police here, talking about the efforts that are going to be ramped up in terms of ensuring law and order here in Alexandra. It's also from the Minister, Sally, about the soldiers being here. He says it's about maintaining or making sure that people are no longer able to cause destruction to any property.